Okay, look, I want anything that helps young people buy homes. I've talked about the property tax elimination. I've explored lots of different proposals that are in various state legislatures, and I can tell you this 50-year mortgage, it's not it. And before you come at me saying, hey, at least they're trying something, I'll give that to you. But let me show you the math on why it's actually not even a good policy at all. So here's what they're selling you. Extend your mortgage from 30 years to 50 years. Save a couple $100s a month in interest, or in your monthly payments. And that sounds helpful, right? But what that doesn't tell you is first, you're going to get a higher interest rate because banks are going to see a 50-year term as riskier than a 30-year term. And second, if we look at the actual math, you're paying way more. So let's say you bought a $500,000 house on a 30-year mortgage in 2021 at like a 3% rate. You're going to pay around $250,000 in interest. If you buy that same house on a 50-year mortgage at today's 7% rate, it would be $1 million in interest. Even compared to a 30-year mortgage today at 7%, you're still paying $700,000 more over the life of the loan. So you'd be paying essentially double the price of the house just in interest alone. And look, maybe you could argue this helps on the margins by lowering that monthly payment. The same way you might argue that eliminating property taxes might help on the margins. I disagree with both these policies. I'm open to being wrong, but let's be real. You cannot tell me with a straight face that either of these policies are going to make a dent in the bigger problem of housing affordability. The problem isn't that monthly payments are like $200 too high. The problem is that homes cost double what they should relative to income. You need around $114,000 average salary to afford the median home, but average salaries are at $57,000. That's not a stretch the payment longer problem. That's a we need a really big change problem. And what actually makes this frustrating for me is that there are some policies that people have talked about that would make sense. Massive investment in housing supply, tax credits for first time home buyers that wouldn't exist for people buying like their third home, restrictions on institutional investors buying up single family houses. These are all like 90-10 issues, and they're real solutions. They are hard. They do require taking on entrenched interests and lobbyists. But extending a mortgage 20 years so banks make an extra $750,000 is not a solution. That is a band-aid on a bullet wound. Young generations like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and millennials deserve policy that matches the scale of the problem we're facing.